Well, that did not go according to plan. So here we are in 2021 with a brand new slate of animated movies and upcoming shows. And some of them are, funny enough, from 2020. Because as we all know, that year sucked, and a lot of things were pushed back. So this is my annual animation rundown where I do bullet point observations, just checking out the films and cartoons coming out from all these different studios. Though, let it be known that a lot of these dates are still shifting around. We don't know. There's so much we don't know. We're still kind of in the thick of it all with like 2020 nonsense and the C word, not that C word. But just there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and companies and studios, they're rolling with the punches. They're trying their best. We're going to see a massive push, though, from streaming services, because this is like the perfect time for them to really advance on that front. To go, hey, look at us. We're one of the main apps you want to have on your TV, your phone, your computer. We're worth it. So yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot from them. So yeah, let's just hop into it. So let's hit up Disney first. They got 2 films coming out this year. We got Raya and the Last Dragon. Comes out in March. Got like this ninja fantasy thing going on. Looks good. I saw the trailer. Looking forward to seeing this one. Then there's Encanto. Comes out in November. So we don't know much about it, but there's a Twitter post that said, this fall, Walt Disney Animation Studios' all-new film Encanto takes you to Colombia, where a magical family live in a magical home. It's directed by Brian Howard and Jared Bush, co-directed and co-written by Therese Castor-Smith, and music written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. So, you know, Lin-Manuel's just doing all the music for all the movies forever. I'm in now. It's not a complaint, it's praise. It looks cute. Again, we don't know much about it. So many things shifting around. We don't know about dates as far as like precise dates. And for all we know, this could be pushed back to next year. We just don't know. I don't think Disney even knows. They're like, we got stuff. We've got content. Just you wait. It might come out this year, might not. But we do have content. Speaking of Disney, we got Pixar. They've got this short, or not even a short. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's a series of shorts. It's called Doug Days. This series is based on Up, and you got like Ed Asner returning as Carl, and you got the dog, Doug, hanging out with Ed Asner. It looks competent, looks cinematic, like cinematic levels of quality from the original movie. Neat. Okay, that's different. You got Luca coming out June of this year. It's another original Pixar story, which makes that 3 in a row. Onward, Soul, Luca. And Pixar made a declaration not too long ago where they said, we are going to make original films this decade. We're going to go back to our original roots when the early 2000s, mid 2000s, where they had like this string of original films where it was like Finding Dory, Incredibles, Monsters Inc., Ratatouille, WALL-E. They were just killing it with original films. That's what they're aiming to do again. And I'm sure Disney's like, yes, do that. We need content to put on our streaming service, so do what you gotta do. I have seen the concept art for this. It looks colorful. You got this one directed by, oh gosh, I'm gonna screw your name up. You got this one directed by Enrico Casaros, who directed the Pixar short La Luna. The synopsis for this reads, a young boy experiences an unforgettable seaside summer on the Italian Riviera, filled with gelato, pasta, and endless scooter rides. Luca shares these adventures with his newfound best friend, but all the fun is threatened by a deeply held secret. He is I won't read the spoiler. All right, interesting. All right, there's oh, cool. Hard stop on the spoiler synopsis. But yeah, this looks good. I'm gonna be saying that a lot throughout this video because I'm not original. But it genuinely looks good. And again, I'm here for the original Pixar stuff. It's cool to see them back on that boat, to be pushing that front where they're like, we were known for making original content that was really good. Let's do it again. And I'm like, yeah, do it again. Because like, if I see another Cars sequel, I'm gonna pull my hair out. Next, we have the Pixar Popcorn. I think that's what it's called, Pixar Popcorn. Another series of shorts. We don't know much about this one either. We do know that it's going to be on Disney Plus. It was shared during Disney's big old press release, which, like, by the way, they had this press release a few weeks ago, and they're like, we are going to make everything. We know we own Star Wars, we own Marvel, we own a lot, and we're going to town on that. And we're going to be making Disney Plus very competitive on the original content scene. And this is one of those things. It's a bunch of shorts of Pixar characters doing stuff. Cool. Next, we have DreamWorks, who they work in affiliation with Netflix, like as partners. We got Boss Baby 2, aka Boss Baby Family Business. Yeah, cool. Can't wait. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I honestly, I'm so indifferent to Boss Baby. It feels a bit uninspired, normie, to me. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just there. It's like it feels like an Illumination film done by DreamWorks. That's what it feels like. And I saw the first film. It was meh, just meh to me. I think kids liked it and their parents because it's relatable with babies and moms and daddies watching the baby wearing a suit by Alec Baldwin. I watched the trailer for this and it's like, oh, so they're adults, but they're becoming babies again. Cool. Whatever keeps the lights on, DreamWorks, you keep doing you. This is a bit different. We got Spirit Untamed. This is interesting because Spirit was a film that came out in the late 90s, I believe, or the early 2000s. It was a 2D animated film and it didn't do amazing. I remember seeing it. My sisters loved it, but it's like, okay, that was that. Then there was a Netflix show, but it was like a modern horse girl take on Spirit, like the Spirit horse. And the movie was during the Civil War. And then there was a TV show on Netflix where it's now it's a modern horse. So this movie is based on the Netflix series. So that's different. It says here from the Wikipedia entry, DreamWorks and Illumination announced that a feature film based on the Spirit writing-free series was in development, with Elaine Bogan serving as director and Ennio Tortora serving as a co-director, from a script by series creator Ari Wallington, and produced by Karen Foster. These are names. The film will be produced on a lower budget and be made by a different animation studio outside of DreamWorks, similar to the Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. It's interesting. I'm breaking away from the Wikipedia thing here. It is interesting how Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, and other studios, they outsource quite a lot to other studios. And we're getting it here with Spirit Untamed. Spirit Unhinged. It's supposed to come out here in June of this year. It was going to be May, pushed it back. Again, a lot of things as far as dates go and scheduling. It's all up in the air. Even if it's pushed back a date, don't be surprised because of 2020, because of 2021, that it's moved multiple times because everything is up in the air. So yeah, that's that. Then there's Troll Hunters: Rise of the Titans. The series was created by Guillermo del Toro. I've never watched it. I have heard really good things about Troll Hunters and its different iterations. I need to catch up on the series. There's a tweet that says, quote, Troll Hunters, 3 Below, Wizards. The saga concludes in Troll Hunters: Rise of the Titans, a Netflix original film coming in 2021. So, cool. Once more, I've heard of the series, good things about it. I have never seen it. Then we got The Bad Guys from DreamWorks. The Bad Guys is an upcoming American computer animated heist comedy film produced by DreamWorks Animation and released by Universal Pictures. The film is based on the popular children's book series of the same name by Australian author Aaron Blabby. The synopsis reads here, the film centers on several reformed yet misunderstood villains known as Mr. Wolf, Mr. Piranha, Mr. Snake, Mr. Snark, Mr. Shark, and Miss Tarantula. The 5 tire of a life of crime and decide to live their lives as forces of good. Looks neat. Then there's Illumination and their films. You got Minions, The Rise of Gru. Meh. don't really care. I watched the trailer. It seems like, I don't know, visually, it's like this feels the exact same as every Minion movie ever made. They never feel like they've taken these massive leaps visually as like, look at the character models and the animation is gorgeous. It all feels the same. A big old bucket of Minions and they're just pulling it out going, buy our stuff. And I'll never forget that in the first Minions, where they're like, the Minions, they always gravitate towards the most evil of people during history. And they got like the Minions hanging out with like a T-Rex. And I think it was like Ivan the Terrible, but they were conveniently frozen during World War II. I wonder why. So, okay, whatever. I'm sure kids and middle-aged moms will love this film. So go off. I'm super indifferent to it. Then there's Sing 2. Which I'll say the same thing as I said for Minions, The Rise of Gru. I'm indifferent. I saw the first Sing. It was meh. I just thought it was boring. I'm sure moms and their kids will love it too. All right, next there's Sony. And the first film on their docket here is Connected, which, by the way, I'm in this movie. Look, it's me. The look like Seth MacFarlane, no, what's his name? Rogan. The beard, the belly. That's me, guys. That's absolutely me. Okay, so this film was going to be called Mitchells versus the Machines. They changed the name to Connected. I saw the trailer or some of the clips from the movie. Looks really neat. It's a cool blend of like 3D animation with like 2D like animation to go with it. A neat stylization. I'm excited about the prospect of these films going, okay, we've done the 3D animation, so on and so forth, ad nauseum, that DreamWorks and Pixar that they've done. I think Spider-Verse really inspired other animation studios to go, we can do better. We can do something different too. Let's do both. And Connected gives me that vibe where it's like, oh, this is gonna be fun and visually different, especially with like the daydreaming cutscenes. So yeah, I'm pumped about this one. It does have a synopsis of like technology bad, family good, but I think that'll be relatable for some audiences, though for some other folks it might be like, okay, we get it, put your phone down, okay. But I'm still gonna watch it. I'm looking forward to this one. Then there's Hotel Transylvania 4, which is not being directed by Genndy Tartakovsky. He's being a producer, but like he's done directing these Hotel Transylvania films. I think he finally broke away from Adam Sandler. And I'll tell you what, Sony, this must be their bread and butter franchise, because they're like, make a fourth one, and then a fifth one, and then a sixth one. And we're gonna have Dracula dancing around in his like white shorts and turn it into a meme. We need more memes for advertising. So, okay. I mean, hey, I'll tell you this though. Mavis is cute. Mavis is kind of hot. I shouldn't say that. So I'm gonna watch it for that alone. Okay, next we've got Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. Meh, don't care. I don't care. There's the original Easter film with like the live action rabbits, live action quote unquote. Again, I'm just like, really? That warranted a sequel? Will it come out in Easter? I guess it will remain to be seen. Then there's Vivo, which I know nothing about. I was told about this film from a friend. According to Wiki, it says, quote, Vivo is an upcoming American computer animated musical film produced by Columbia Pictures and Sony Pictures Animation. The film is directed by Kirk D'Amico and co-directed by Brandon Jeffords, from a screenplay by, I'm gonna screw your name, Hoodies? And D'Amico, and a story that was based on the original idea by Peter. I'm not even gonna try and say your last name. And here we go, Lin-Manuel doing the music. So, again, Lin's making the rounds this decade with composing the soundtracks for these animated films. It says that this movie was originally pitched to DreamWorks Animation in 2010 by Lin-Manuel Miranda. The film was canceled due to a restructuring at the company in 2015. However, it was later revived and fast-tracked by Sony Pictures Animation on December 14th, 2016. Vivo is currently scheduled to be theatrically released in the US on June 2021. I guess we'll see how that goes. The premise is that it's a King Gojo with a thirst for adventure and a passion for music, makes a treacherous passage from Havana, Cuba to Miami, Florida in pursuit of his dreams to fulfill his destiny. So, all right, neat. Then we got 20th Century Studios. Disney's like, drop the Fox from your name. We own you. We got Bob's Burgers, the movie. I like the show. It was supposed to come out, the movie, last year. Unsurprisingly to everyone right now, it was moved, and it's supposed to come out this year. There's really no synopsis for this so far, except for like Jimmy Jr.'s butt. So, okay, it's a good show. I like Bob's Burgers. Hopefully the film's good. Then there's Ron's Gone Wrong. According to IMDb, it says, set in a world where walking, talking, digitally connected bots have become children's best friends. Ron's Gone Wrong tells the story of an 11-year-old boy who finds that his robot buddy doesn't quite work. And then additional information here saying, due to the Disney Fox buyout severing the original partnership between 20th Century Fox and Locksmith, Ron's Gone Wrong will be Locksmith's sole collaboration between the two studios, and the only one to be released by Disney. Afterwards, all future Locksmith movies will be released by Warner Brothers through a new multi-year deal. So again, because of COVID, because of the streaming wars, so many different properties and movies and contracts and partnerships have been shifting around, and the dust has not settled. If anything, it might accelerate as time goes on here in the early 2020s. So that being said, Ron Gone's Wrong. Okay, neat. Technology bad, maybe? I'm getting that vibe, but we'll have to see what it looks like once we get an official trailer. Then we got Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I never read the books. I know that they're popular. I know that there's a movie that's also popular. I must have missed that bandwagon. It was just never something I was interested in. I do like the cartoony covers of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and it looks like they're going to use those covers and visuals to base on a movie. Like, okay, let's use those designs for a film. And okay, cool. I'll check it out. I really don't know much about these properties. There's so many. You'll get used to it, folks. This is not like deep dives, like, let me tell you for the next hour what I think of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Instead, it's me like, oh, Diary of a Wimpy Kid's coming out, and it looks okay. Moving on. Speaking of half-assed answers, we got Night at the Museum. Chameleon. Rises again. I was told about this. I don't know anything about it though. Like, a friend was like, oh, what about the new Night at the Museum animated film? And I'm like, the what? So that's a thing. Next, we've got Warner Brothers with a movie that I'm genuinely excited for. It is called Space Jam: A New Legacy. Folks, I unironically love Space Jam. It is dumb, it is flawed, it is oozing with issues, but it's such a hot mess and so bizarre that I adore it. And I watched it when I was a kid, when I was like, yeah, Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny going to McDonald's. They didn't go to McDonald's, but like, I was going nuts over it as a kid. My friends and I, we were like, stop the presses. Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan fighting aliens? Yes. So as an adult, my sentiment remains the exact same. Except this time we got like LeBron James and Looney Tunes. And I heard about the leak script. There was a leak about what this movie's about. And if it is true, it is going to be wild, like genuinely off the wall wild. And I cannot wait to see it. Also, Lola Bunny. Yeah, missed you. Okay, then there's a Tom and Jerry movie. It's a mixture of 2D with live action. The 2D looks amazing. Live action, I'm not that interested in it. But like, hey, at least the Tom and Jerry, like, they really captured their essence and looks like they're gonna be true to their characters from the old days. So cool. I'll watch it. Again, I wish it was fully animated, but for what it's worth, at least we got Tom and Jerry animated, so I'll take that. Then there's Netflix and all of their films. We got My Father's Dragon, which is a cooperation between Netflix and Cartoon Saloon. Cartoon Saloon, they're God tier, Song of the Sea, Breadwinners. They did the Wolf Walkers film from last year. They make amazing stuff. highly recommend their content. Highly recommend it. And the premise for this is a runaway Elmer elevator searches for a captive dragon on Wild Island and finds much more than he could have ever anticipated. And yeah, listen, again, if someone said, hey, Cartoon Saloon made this to me, I'm like, say no more. I'm sold. We'll watch it. I will absolutely watch this film. And I will. Then there's Wendell and Wild. It's an upcoming American stop-motion animated dark fantasy horror comedy directed by Henri Selick, written by Henri Selick, yet Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key part of this. Like, those are some really big names. Again, like Henri Selick did like the stop motion for The Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, he directed that. And it's like, yeah, he's good. He's a very well-known person in the industry for stop motion and really capturing that spooky horror aspect of it all. And yeah, I want to check it out. It says that this one's about two scheming demon brothers, Wendell and Wild Sanders, voiced by Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, and how they must face their arch nemesis, the demon-dusting nun sister Helly, and her two acolytes, the goth teens Kat and Raoul or whatever. I'm here. I'm here for this one. It sounds fun. I mean, hearing that Henri Selick, his name is attached to this, it's like stop motion as well. Boom, I'm here for it. We'll watch it, no doubt. Speaking of dark fantasy, we got the Pinocchio movie, which is a team up between Netflix, Shadow Machine, and Jim Henson. Not the person, but the company. It's stop motion as well, based on the Pinocchio books and I believe comics, the Pinocchio manga, if you don't mind me saying. For those who don't know, Pinocchio, like the original stuff, was very dark, like incredibly dark. That's going to be the vibe here. One of the co-writers for the screenplay for this film is Pat McHale, and he did Over the Garden Wall. So that's great too. Over the Garden Wall is one of my favorite cartoons ever made. And that movie or that show also captured like the spooky autumn vibes of like, ooh, we don't know what monsters lurk in the forest. And overall, the big names attached to this, strong, a creepier old school Pinocchio, sounds fun. And stop motion on top of that, yes, this is going to be a ringer for Netflix. Then there is Arlo, the alligator boy. I saw a clip of this where you got these characters from the movie dancing around near the shore of some water, some ocean, and it was a really fun song. The characters initially to me, I'm like, they look kind of weird, like really off the wall, bizarre character designs. But I think that's the point of this entire show. This movie, by the way, it's going to be a movie that leads into a show. The movie being called Arlo, the Alligator Boy, leading into a show called I Heart Arlo, which will air on Netflix. Synopsis: upon learning that he is from New York City, a wide-eyed boy who is half human, half alligator, decides to leave his sheltered life in the swamp and search for his long-lost father. It's a musical. The animation is done by Titmouse. Looks really good. I know that this is a weird comparison, but seeing like the outlandish cast of characters and their designs, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like regular show characters in the world of humans. I know that's not just humans in regular show, but that might be the case here. Like a bunch of riffraffs and weirdos hanging out and palling around and learning lessons. Okay, cool. That should be fun. There's also a Loud House movie. According to one of the show writers, it might be on Netflix in April. So again, we don't know what's going to happen for specific dates, but there is a Loud House movie in the works. And apparently it's supposed to be a Rise of the TMNT movie as well on Netflix at some point. We don't know. We don't know. There's so much we don't know. But fingers crossed, because Rise of the TMNT deserves more attention. Next, we got Paramount. They got Clifford the Big Red Dog movie. I saw the trailer. I mean, it's a dog. It's red. It's big. Okay. That's the movie. It's 3D animated. I know a lot of folks on YouTube are like, oh, this looks awful. And I'm like, I don't think it looks awful. It's just a weird thing in execution where it's like, a giant dog running with a human girl, like an actual human actor. Okay. I never cared for Clifford as a kid. I don't really care for it now. I'm indifferent, but it's there for those who want to see it. Speaking of indifference towards dogs, There's a Paw Patrol, the movie, coming out. It's a collab between Paramount and Nickelodeon. Don't care. Moving on. There is an untitled My Little Pony movie, a collab between Hasbro and Paramount as well. The 2017 Pony movie, I'll be real, was pretty solid. I give it a strong 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I know ponies aren't for everyone. I enjoyed it. Good music. It was an okay story. Nothing like Pixar or Disney level, but it sufficed. It was solid and good visuals to go on top of that. So I guess we'll see if they can do it again with this untitled My Little Pony movie. Then there's a Rumble, which was going to come out in 2020, but was postponed to 2021 for obvious reasons. The premise says the following: in a world where giant monsters and humans collide, the monsters are superstar athletes and compete in a popular professional wrestling global sport called Monster Wrestling. A young girl named Winnie seeks to follow in her father's footsteps as a manager by coaching a lovable underdog yet inexperienced monster named Steve. Winnie plans to turn Steve into a champion so that he can go up against the reigning champion, Tentacooler.
Tentacular.
I thought it said testicular. Looks fun. I actually think this one might be enjoyable. I like big monsters fighting, so all right, sweet. I'll check it out. Looks competent. The trailer's on YouTube. It was always funny when the trailers are like, coming out in 2020, and then they're like, erase that. It wasn't true. And then we got the film that I'm probably looking forward to most by Sony, Wish Dragon. The visuals look so fun and fluid and colorful. The premise says the story is a, quote, a genie in a bottle retelling set in contemporary China based on an original story by Chris Alpahans, who is also directing this. And then it's a modern day fairy tale, picks up the moral challenges that emerge from the encounter between a boy and a dragon who is able to make wishes come true. So yeah, again, vibrant, beautiful, fluid. By the way, we're going to see a ton of Chinese animation this decade, a ton of it, whether it's the focus from American studios or Chinese studios themselves trying to demonstrate what they can do artistically with their films. They've already done a bunch, but this decade, it will blow up. Mark my word. Next, there's Studio Ghibli with Earwig and the Witch. Oh, man. Go look up this video, the trailer on YouTube, and you will see some very unhappy people in the comments. This is the first 3D movie by Ghibli, not directed by Hayao Miyazaki, but by his son, Goro, I believe. It's interesting because people are like, wow, the lighting's awful, the animation's awful, the characters look bad, it looks cheap. And I wouldn't say it's bad animation, it just doesn't look completed. And I'm like, okay, I want to watch this film because I'm sure the story will be great. But I see why people are upset. It does look lacking. And when you have something like Ghibli, where one of their big selling points as a company is quality. So when that quality's not there, it's concerning. So, I mean, the film comes out here in the next few days. I'll check it out. I'll do a quick vid. But for what it's worth, I can understand why folks are hesitant, why they are upset, because for the trailer that was presented, yeah, looks like it's lacking. Then there's MGM with the Addams Family 2. Never saw the first one. I'm very surprised they're churning this one out fast. I was like, wow, this movie deserved a sequel that quickly? Something tells me that must have been part of the plan originally. We're gonna make a first film and we want a sequel. We want a package deal. That must have been a thing. And nobody cared. By the way, I think it's neat that the characters in the movie are stylized and cartoony and fun, but something about it just seems off. Have you seen the other human characters that are not the family in this movie? They look really bizarre. Then we got a line with Blazing Samurai. Oh, I was surprised because my friend was like, oh, this film's coming out this year finally. I'm like, what? I thought that film was stuck in production hell. So there is an entire backstory about this. Pan Pizza did a video discussing this. I recommend checking his video out because I don't want to get off track. But just know that this movie was stuck in production hell, like the deepest pits of hell. This film is where it existed for like the last 5 or 6 years. It is ridiculous what they've gone through. Restructuring, getting new money, begging for money and loans, people coming on the project, not like that, people leaving the project. It's a mess. It's an absolute freaking mess. So to see that this film might come out in 2021, it's like, wow, it lived, it survived, it made it. But is it any good? I don't think so. I have my doubts. Something tells me it will be pretty bad. But don't worry, you got big butt crack cats in their sumo outfits. Yeah, that's what I want my 2021. It's exactly what I want my 2021. All right, let's hit up the cartoons. I'm going to do the same thing where I hit up companies and talk about their block of content and then move on to the next company. So let's start off with Disney. They've got Monsters at Work, which will be airing on Disney+. It says 6 months after the events of Monsters, Inc., the city of Monstropolis is making the transition to be fueled by the sound of laughter. Tyler Tuskman, a recent Scare Major graduate from Monsters University, working as a mechanic in the facilities team, dreams of working alongside his idols, Mike Wazowski and James P. Sullivan. So, my buddy told me that this one is different because it is a Pixar property, but it's being created by Disney TV Animation. So, you got Disney really fleshing out its strengths, going, what do we own? Okay, put Disney TV Animation to work on Monsters at Work. Pixar, you go work on your films and your other shorts and other stuff. We got animators, we can hire them and put them to work and get this content pumping out for our streaming services. Also, you got John Goodman and Billy Crystal returning back for this. Got also John Ratzenberger, Jennifer Tilly. Overall, I think this will be fun. I like Monsters, Inc. I liked Monsters University. Hopefully this one will be just as fun too. John and Billy have great chemistry with Mike and Sully, so okay, cool. I guess we'll see it. Then there's Chip and Dale, which is being done by Disney Plus and Xilium Animation, which is a studio from France. They got this visual style that reminds me a lot of the Mickey Mouse shorts on Disney. I'm optimistic about this one. I think it'll be fun. Then there's The Ghost and Molly McGee. This is by Disney Channel. Will probably air on there and then make its way to Disney Plus. You got Master Shake from Aqua Teen voicing this ghost. I forget the VA's name. Forgive me. Looks fun. Looks visually fluid and enjoyable. A good addition to Disney Channel's line of content, which I do wonder how much longer that's going to last. Where it's it's on Disney Channel first, then a streaming service. It's just go to the streaming service. No one watches TV. No one cares anymore. For the 5 folks who watch TV going, hey, no, not true. Next, there's MODOK, which is MODOK. It's by Hulu and Marvel. So Disney owns the majority of Hulu. So they have 2 streaming services as far as the big ones go. This is interesting because it's adult-oriented. Stop motion animation, and it's from the folks who did Robot Chicken. You got Patton Oswalt voicing, and he's also an executive producer on this. It's interesting. You're seeing Disney going what can we do with these streaming services, and what should we do to leverage our content? Because will Disney ever want to put really risque or dark or mature content on their streaming services like Disney Plus, or do you want to reserve that for Hulu? It's weird. It's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Next, there is the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder on Disney+. You got the original creator behind this, and he's got the original cast back with him. Yeah, cool. I like the Proud Family. It was fun. Should be fun to see it again. Then there's Star Wars, The Bad Batch by Lucasfilm and Disney+. Star Wars is going to get so much screen time this decade. Disney's we're going to make 50 Star Wars series. And this one is based on the Clone Wars, and it's a spinoff after the Clone Wars. Okay, neat. I've been told that the Clone Wars series is really good. So is Star Wars Rebels. I've watched some of these episodes from the different series, but I need to sit down and really watch all of it because I've been told that the Clone Wars makes up for the mess that was the prequel trilogy. and that Ahsoka
Wasn't right the first time you said it.
Ahsoka Tano is like one of the best characters to come from the prequels. Then there's Star Wars Visions, which is by Lucasfilm and Disney+. It's an anthology series. It is going to be done in like anime style. Reminds me in conceptualization to the Animatrix, where you got these mini stories that aren't strictly related, except for like being related to the Matrix itself, but like, oh, different characters you'd never met doing their own thing. Or like, by the way, the second Renaissance from the Animatrix, chef's kiss, so good. So an anime anthology series for Star Wars, cool, that should be fun. Then there is What If by Disney and Marvel. It's CG animated, but like cell shading over the models. You get like the movie voice actors from like Marvel returning for this. It's like what if situations, like what if Peggy was Captain America? Not Peggy from King of the Hill, but the British Peggy. And then you got like T'Challa, a Star-Lord. Neat. Cool what if situations and scenarios to kind of flesh out like, what if things went this way? What if they went that way? Let's explore it. So, neat. Wow, I'm actually excited for a Marvel property in 2021. Nuts. Then there's 20th Century Studios. Again, Disney owns them, so it's technically Disney. You got the Great North. Looks like Bob's Burgers. It's from the same studio, but it's not the same creator. So it's different in that regard. Though you got like Nick Offerman, Jenny Slate, Will Forte, a big cast coming for this one. And by the time of this video being released, I think the first episode will have aired on Fox TV. So, okay, cool. Tell me what y'all think in the comments if you've seen it. Next, we got HBO Max, Time Warner, Cartoon Network. It's kind of clumping them all together because like HBO, Warner, Time Warner, they own all of this. So I'm just gonna bunch it up together. There's Aquaman, King of Atlantis. It's a 3-part miniseries based on the Aquaman movie. Okay, cool. There's Bat Wheels, which is by, it's like a preschool series about the Batmobile. Got some car vibes going on here where it's like, ka-chow, I'm Batman. There's Blade Runner, Black Lotus, a collaboration of Crunchyroll, Adult Swim, and Toonami. It's a Blade Runner anime. And some of the characters from the movie are in it too. So that's cool. There's Boondocks by Sony HBO Max. That's kind of interesting, right? So where did Sony get into this? It's produced by Sony. It will be on HBO Max. Unfortunately, John Witherspoon, the voice of Grandpa, passed away last year. We'll see how it goes. I loved the first 2 seasons of Boondocks. If they can capture that magic and bring it back, then I'm here for it. There's Elliot from Earth from Cartoon Network. It's from the European division that did Gumball. I don't know much about it. I guess we'll see what it's about. It's kind of a mystery. Next, there's Gremlins, Secret of the Mogwai. It's by Warner Brothers, Amblin, never say their name right, Amblin, and HBO Max. This was announced a few years ago, and it's funny because it was supposed to come out last year. Did not. Might come out this year. It might not. We don't know. The synopsis reads that it's a Gremlins cartoon and prequel with Gizmo and his original owner from that Chinese shop who took care of him. So that's the concept. Next, there is The Heroic Quest of the Valiant Prince Ivandoe. It's from Cartoon Network. It started off initially as a series of shorts. It's also produced by Cartoon Network Europe with similar style to Gumball. And that's all I really know. So a lot of things seem like they're like, we got a show. We don't have much to show for it at the moment, but we got a show. Our streaming service is worth subscribing to because we might have content on it. Then there's Jellystone by Warner Brothers and HBO Max. I mentioned this last year for the 2020 video. Obviously, did not go according to plan, but it might be coming out this year. You got Greenblatt working on it. He was the guy who did Chowder and Harvey Beaks. It's a series of various Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters just hanging out together and getting into mischief and adventures and whatnot. So good talent on this. I like the visual style. Hanna-Barbera characters are always fun. So cool. I think this one will be enjoyable. Then there's Little Ellen. Ellen DeGeneres is getting her own cartoon show. So weird. So technically, it's the second time she's worked with Warner. because back in 2019, there was the Green Eggs and Ham cartoon show, which was, by the way, really good. So maybe Ellen might be onto something? It's like she's earned the benefit of the doubt, but still, it's called Little Ellen, and it might be like cringe incarnate, so I guess we'll see what happens. Then there's Lucas the Spider on Cartoon Network. So for those who don't know, Lucas the Spider is an existing internet-like show or series on the internet, on YouTube. You got this little jumping spider voiced by a kid who's like, I'm a spider, and hello. My amazing impersonation of him. He's getting a show on Cartoon Network. Then there's Mecha Builders from HBO Max and Sesame Workshop. It's a CGI animated series with characters from Sesame Street. Apparently HBO Max has been very respectful to Sesame Street. If only the Muppets could get the same treatment from Disney, right? And get this, we even get some of the Sesame Street Muppets as giant robots, like the Mecha Cookie Monster. Sweet, awesome, I love it. There's The Prince on HBO Max, which is based on actual British royalty and politicians. It's adult animation, very much so like a caricature of like these real life people with like, the Queen of England and Prince Charles and Philip and whatever. And okay, British humor, go. Or go. There's Shenmue by Crunchyroll, Adult Swim, and Toonami. It's an anime based on a popular video game series called, not surprisingly, Shenmue. And we don't know too much about it outside of that, so I guess we'll see what they do next. There's Tiny Toons Luniversity by Warner Brothers, Cartoon Network, HBO Max. Based on Tiny Toons, the same way that Animaniacs got its own reboot, that's going to be the case here. Though Animaniacs went to Hulu, Tiny Toons will be going to HBO Max. It's paying homage to the original show. Got Spielberg producing this one too. Looks good. I've seen the concept art. Hopefully it's loyal to the original with a nice spark of inspiration to go along with it. There's Tom and Jerry in the Big City by Warner Brothers and HBO Max. We don't know much about it, except that it's probably based on the movie. It's coming up here soon, so okay. There's Tuned Out by Warner Brothers and HBO Max. It's a half live action, half animated with Robert Zemeckis as producer and creator. Just like a lot of these things, we don't know too much about it. All we know is that we got Christopher Lloyd hanging out with Looney Tune characters and old Warner characters and whatnot. There's Tuca and Birdie on Adult Swim. They bought that from Netflix because Tuca and Birdie got canned on there. And Adult Swim's like, we'll buy it. We'll continue it. And that's cool. I think it will be a good fit for Adult Swim. I think Tuca and Birdie will fit the style of that channel very well. So cool. Good luck with that. There's Unicorn Warriors Eternal on Cartoon Network and HBO Max. This is being created by Genndy Tartakovsky. I love this man. He could do no wrong. He did Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab, Primal, Symbiotic Titan. This is one of the most anticipated shows for 2021 for me. Genndy gets more experimental as time goes on. His last work with Primal was, in my opinion, one of the greatest bits of animated content ever made, and I'm excited to see what he does with this. There's We Baby Bears from Cartoon Network, which is a spinoff of the show. It's a prequel from the original. We Baby Bears ended in 2020 with that movie. What's interesting about this is it's a prequel about the baby bears, but it's going to be done in an anime style. So it's kind of cute. The picture for it looks nice. So cool. Wholesome funness continues. And finally, from HBO Max, we got Young Love, which is an animated series based on the animated short called Hair Love. That short was very popular. It won the Oscar last year for animated shorts. I say animated shorts 5 more times. Cool. It's getting a series. I think it's neat. Good for representation, and look forward to seeing what they do with this. Next, there is Netflix and their assortment of content. I'm just going to read these off because there's a lot. There's The Cuphead Show being done by Netflix and Studio MDHR. Cuphead was an amazing game, an amazing video game, beautifully animated. It's getting its own show. It's based on the game, which was done in 2D animation. It's going to be the case here as well. Looking forward to this one. We got Dead Anita in India. Dead India. It's based on a series of graphic novels, features Alex Brightman, the guy who was Beetlejuice in the Broadway show. It says here that it's a horror comedy series of graphic novels from Eisner Award-winning comic book artist and animation director Hamish Steele. He's been lauded for his art, according to this thing. It seems that this is going to be a good addition to the graphic novels and a good adaptation for it. Then there's Godzilla Singular Point on Netflix. Whew, man, the last Godzilla anime movie series that was on Netflix was just awful. I like Godzilla, did not like that. Very poorly done. The point it was trying to do was lost on me, where I'm like, you do know that Godzilla is like big monster fights, and you don't have big monster fights, so something's wrong. But this one seems to be in better hands. You got Orange Studio, the folks who did the animation for Beastars, working on this. You got the person, I forget the name, who did the designs for this movie. You got Jet Jaguar in this. Fuck yeah. Hopefully it's better than the last Godzilla anime series and actually knows what makes Godzilla special and runs with that momentum. Next, there's I Heart Arlo. I mentioned that before. It will be a series that takes place after the Arlo movie on Netflix. There's Kid Cosmic. This is done by Craig McCracken. Definitely got some Powerpuff Girl vibes going on here as far as the visuals go. God, it's been 7 years since Craig McCracken has done a show. The last one was Wander Over Yonder. It looks fun. I'm looking forward to this one. Then there's Masters of the Universe, Revelation. Kevin Smith is directing this. It's from Powerhouse Studio, the guys who did Castlevania and Blood of Zeus. Got an all-star cast going on here. Got Mark Hamill, got Stephen Root, Alan Oppenheimer is part of this. Lena Headey, I say her name wrong. She's Cersei from Game of Thrones. So yeah, I think this will be fun. Kevin Smith is a big dork, and with the right direction, it could be a good blend of action and also a little bit of humor topped in on it, because the world of Masters of the Universe is already so silly. How could you not have fun with a fantasy setting? This one caught me by surprise. There's a Pacific Rim show coming out on Netflix called Pacific Rim: The Black. We don't know much about it. It's going to be a CGI anime. We know that much. It seems to be based on these two twins who are siblings, of course, and they pilot a Jaeger and help fight kaiju near Australia. So cool. We'll see how that goes, because the Pacific Rim 2 movie sucked. The first one was fun. The second one was awful. Then there's Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. This one's being done by Netflix, TMS, and Capcom. CGI animation via motion capture that mimics the original game, from what I'm being told. It looks like a cutscene, the movie or the show. Watch it for yourself. It looks like an actual cutscene, but as a show. Then there's Maya and the Three. It reads here that there is, quote, a Mesoamerican warrior princess who embarks on a request to recruit 3 legendary fighters to help save the world of gods and humankind. You got Jorge Gutierrez, the guy who is the director of Book of Life. He's doing this show. He's directing it, creating it. Looked really good. I think it's cool to see more Central and South American representation on Netflix and media in general, and Gutierrez is perfect for that, because he did also a bunch of other Mexican, what was that, El Tigre? He did that show too on Nickelodeon, so it's cool to see him running with that momentum and working at Netflix. There's Samurai Rabbit, the Usagi Chronicles. This one is based on the Usagi Yojimbo comic. That rabbit samurai who appears in TMNT occasionally, he's getting his own show, so that's cool. Next, we got Viacom. That's right, Viacom, Nickelodeon, and MTV, and Comedy Central, and all that goodness. So on Comedy Central, we're getting another Beavis and Butthead revival. Mike Judge is working on it, so at least there's that. I'm indifferent. It's okay, Zoomers, you remember Beavis and Butthead? You want to watch that? I don't know, maybe not. Then there's Big Nate, which is based on a long-running comic series. It's going to be 26 episodes long, according to Wikipedia. There's no specific date yet for it, and that's all I know. So, cool. I think that's the one where that kid is in a poster with a bunch of other Nickelodeon characters, and it's oh, I know all these characters except for that guy. And that was the guy. Then there's Jody on Comedy Central, which is a spinoff of Daria. Again, Zoomers, do you remember this? Cool. A Daria spinoff. Why not? Then there's Camp Coral, which is probably going to be one of the biggest entries as far as this year goes. We've been waiting for a while on this one, because there was the SpongeBob movie that came out in 2020. It was not good in my opinion, and it laid down the framework for this spin-off prequel series. And yeah, it's gonna be on Paramount Plus. Oh, cool. CBS All Access getting their name changed. We've seen the visuals so far. They don't look good, though I'm told that these visuals are also not completed, which makes me go, then why are they using it for trailers? But sometimes the artists are like, we didn't let you use this, marketing team. What are you doing? I don't know. I will wait and see what this show is like. Though I am confused where in the movie, the kid characters of SpongeBob, Squidward, Patrick, they had kid voice actors, but the original voice is voicing the kids in the show. So, okay, that's weird. We got ourselves a Rugrats revival, but in CG. We got Smurfs coming back on Nickelodeon as well. Okay, cool. Looks like it's from Smurfs The Lost Village, but it's not directly based on it. Okay. There's Star Trek Prodigy on Nickelodeon. I guess kids who need to watch Star Trek on Nickelodeon. Why not? And yeah, I mean, I was surprised at that. I'm like, Star Trek? Nickelodeon? Okay, I guess we'll see how that goes. Because there was that Star Trek The Lower Decks, which is on CBS All Access, which is, I guess, being changed to Paramount Plus. I've been told that series isn't bad. It's just kind of like, it's okay. Looks like a Rick and Morty clone visually, but apparently it's like, okay. So maybe that might be the case here with Star Trek Prodigy. And then we got our additional streaming services here, where it's like, I'm just gonna group them all together. There's the Snoopy Show on Apple TV. It looks like it's gonna be good. 2D, looks competent, should be good. Too bad I don't have Apple TV, because I don't care. There's Invincible on Prime Video, which is based on the comic of the same name. It's from Robert Kirkman, who did The Walking Dead. Got an all-star voice cast in this one, from what I'm told. Okay, neat. There's Thomas and Friends by Mattel Nirvana. Yeah, Nirvana, the guys who did Rock and Roll. No streaming service has claimed this one yet, though it might be Netflix. It remains to be seen, but I don't know much about this one. And then I was told about Roly Poly Oly getting a reboot. Okay, maybe Disney might be like, we want that CGI circle and his square box friend back on our streaming service. Let's go. God, talk about a blast from my past, right? It's embarrassing too because I wasn't a kid for it. I was just a bored teenager watching it. Same thing with PB and J Otter, so why not? And then that's really about it, folks. I'm sure I'm missing a lot as far as like independent creators online go, other cartoons and movies, but like it's a lot. There's so much from 2020 that was pushed back, and even then we're not quite certain where the pieces are going to fall. So I guess we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very explosive year. Oh, and by the way, a shout out to Long Gone Gulch. I mentioned that cartoon back in my 2020 video. It was delayed for good reason. It's coming out on YouTube, and it's done by a really amazing team of online creators and professional animators, and just a really great squad who put this together. Looks fun, and it's free on YouTube, so check out the pilot. And that's where I'm ending things. All right, folks, I know that this video was very long-winded and wasn't perfectly scripted, but those are my initial thoughts about all the content coming out. It's going to be interesting with the streaming services throwing down big money for this. Hopefully we'll get some good shows in the process and good movies. Fingers crossed. All right, folks, have a good new year. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.